What's happening, good people? Ready to get into our next episode of What is Life All About? And B, I want to ask you a question about family, right? Just to be transparent and honest, I remember years ago struggling with the idea of family, right? Coming up the way that I did, having kind of button heads with my mom, button heads with my brother, just having these struggles, right? And having to rely on people like you as my friends, as my extended family, to give me that hope and that understanding and that family, right? That support system that I needed so much, especially as a young person kind of coming into my own. So I guess my question is, what are your thoughts on family, especially with regard to it being a primary support system, with regard to it being so vitally important to have or be a part of, like a family unit? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Sananda. So I guess, when you really look at, like, for me, from my family perspective, it's like, man, no, back up. Like, from our family perspective, like, when we look at our crew and how we developed as a group of men, we had to look at it like, hey, you didn't have a father. For a time period in my life, my early life, I didn't have a father. And then Michael, he didn't have a father, and so when we look at those three individuals out of our core group, we gotta look at it and be like, man, when we were all missing something, I gained something back. I had a father, then I had a father that had a big heart that was willing to share it.
100%.
100%. And when he showed us through his actions, he was like, no, you gentlemen gotta stick together. It's all for one. It's one for all. This is our family. Whether or not we by blood or we not by blood, we're gonna stick together and we're gonna create a family. And we learn how to drive.
Yes.
We learn how to invest.
Yes, sir.
We learn how to be men.
Yes, sir.
We learn how to be responsible, even when we got in car accidents and they make it to the graduation. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So those are some real things that those lessons that we were taught.
Yeah.
But, it all comes through family and how you can extend the family, but you keep the family together at the same time.
And I mean, you're bringing up some good points. I remember one particular story that our friends and family have heard quite a lot, but maybe new to others. Do you remember the time we were at Hammer Jacks? Blast from the past, Hammer Jacks. We out dancing, we having a good time as teenagers, right? Getting it together, right? And we ended up parking. I think we parked our cars. And they were all towed. All of our cars got towed.
That was our arrogance, because we didn't really feel like the cars was going to get towed.
Come on now. Nobody's sitting there. Nobody cars there. Ain't nobody towing our cars, right? But we get through the night. We get home, right? And Al Wiley, man, Pops, was there to pull us up. But the biggest thing I remember about him pulling us up was calling Michael Miller, who did not even go with us.
He wasn't even with us.
He wasn't there.
He was in his bed.
In his bed, right? After he's studying for a test, I think his SATs or whatever it is. But he called Michael Miller to come down to the funeral home with us so that he could give us this message about responsibility and being for one another, whether we're present or not. Give me your thoughts on that, man. Just that understanding that Pop instilled in us, that we are for each other, whether we are in attendance or not, whether we're there, we represent one another, because that's what family is, right? Like, you're a representative, we're almost like ambassadors of each other, even when we're not in the same rooms. But give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, we're family, so even if you're not there, you're responsible for the individuals who are there, and so as a family, it's a unit, and a family has parts, but sometimes all the family can't show up. But you might send a cuz, can you go and attend this event? That way, we can be present. Our family is noted to have attended the event. And that was the same principle for Michael, was like, whether or not we're doing right or we're doing wrong. Because we did a lot of things wrong that night. We did a lot of things wrong that night. But in reality, Michael did nothing. But because he's a part of the family,
That's right.
if one part of the family is disruptive, then all the family suffers.
Yes, sir.
You don't get, just because you at home in your bed doesn't mean you're out of the family.
Come on, you're not exempt.
You're not exempt.
You're not exempt. That's it.
So that means you have to show up for the good,
Yeah.
the bad, and the indifferent.
Wow.
And I think that's what some maybe new families may be lacking.
good.
They feel as though that the family is not a core unit, and that if one part of the family does something, then the other part of the family can sit over here in their house and, oh, such and such did this, and we can talk about them badly. No,
Right.
if that family over there does something wrong, then this family has done something wrong, and that family should come to their support
Absolutely.
to help them through that situation.
I love that.
You
I
know,
love that. I
that's
love
what
that.
family has to do.
That's it. I think that's important. That actually makes me think about those people who are kind of, I guess, like familial outliers, meaning they're not always involved in things. They honestly sometimes don't show up for the cookouts and the celebrations,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Like, and sometimes they don't always show up for the funerals and things because they feel like they are outsiders. So I guess my question is, what is it that we can do to make sure that we are knowledgeable about what's going on with our family members, to make sure that we are inviting them in as much as possible and that we are leaning into
Yeah.
what they have going on so that we can kind of bring them to be a part of whatever's going on with our families, right? Good, bad, and different. We need folks to be a part of that. So what are some things that you feel we can do to invite folks in?
To invite folks into the family structure is very special. It's a very creative thing. But
Gotta be.
nowadays we have a lot of technology that can help us. You know, we can create group messages. So that way if you don't know all your family members' birthday, every one person sends it out and all you gotta do is tag along. Happy
like that.
birthday,
That's it. Simple.
happy anniversary, happy this.
Yeah.
You know, and hey, we having this cookout. Create that group messaging system so that you can communicate with your family. And then when you get them there, create those type of activities that can help the family bond a little bit better together. You know,
That's good.
But you're always gonna have a challenge. You know, it's always gonna be one family member that may not show up, or may not be in attendance.
Yeah.
You know, you in the mental health field, Sananda, how do you feel you can communicate to that family member and share with them maybe to get them to come? Is
love
there
that.
something you can think about?
I actually love that that thought. I think that sometimes, like we're saying, it's difficult to get those folks who are the outliers. But I think one thing is making sure that we keep showing up for them. And just like you said, having that group, don't take them out the group. Make sure that they always get the invite, right? Make
Right.
sure that they're understanding that you are welcome here.
You
right?
are welcome.
Making sure that they know that they are a part of the process, whatever the process is, you're still a part of it, even in your absence, right? Even letting them know, maybe not in the group chat, but even individually, hey
Right.
bro, hey sis, we missed you, man.
Right.
We missed you, sis. We thought that, so we had an amazing time, and but you know what? It probably would have been better if you was there. So you were thought of. You were
Right.
definitely thought of. So the next time we have something, we look forward to seeing you.
Right.
Or, you know what? Maybe we having these group outings, but you might want something a little bit more individual. So you know what, man? You want to hook up at the Mill
Hey,
on North?
on North?
For a little lunch?
A little lunch.
Let's have a little
Some
lunch.
cupcakes
Some
and donuts, a little
donuts,
coffee.
A little coffee. Let's do things like that.
absolutely.
But I think people just need to know that they're thought of, right? That they're thought of. And I think that you have to give people time to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to be involved, but we always want to make sure that we keep those lines of communication open. Like I
Yeah.
said, whether it's through individual, like you said, like group text messages, individual messages, phone calls, and
Creating
things like that.
different events.
Creating different events. I think
You
that's
know,
good.
and a lot of times, you know, what used to keep our families together was church. You know, I know, you know,
Right.
yeah, especially
right.
like Sananda, like we used
right.
to just acknowledge the model of family that you had that was built around your religion.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Very true.
and you cousins and brothers.
Come on.
It was just so tight.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and that family.
Yeah.
But even in my church,
Yeah.
you know, even the church members and, you know, at Great New Hope,
Yeah.
you know, we were like family. We would go up to Michael Miller's house and his grandmother would cook
Come on.
fried chicken,
Come on.
baked beans,
Come
a
on.
whole meal.
Come on.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and those are the things that we have to continue to do. You
Yeah.
have to continue to create those bonds. And and a lot of people are not doing church online now
Yeah.
and not coming.
Very true.
We still have to make sure that we find a way
Yeah.
to get to grandma's house or whoever that person's house is
Absolutely.
that still might know how to throw it down in the kitchen.
Absolutely. How about
you
it?
know?
How about it? Food's important, right? That food part is important for family, right?
Yeah.
And I want to get to the food part, but you actually said something that brought something to mind. I literally had a discussion with one of my best friends, my cousin, right, Corey,
Right.
and we were at his birthday cookout very recently, within the past couple of weeks, and he said to me, there was a time when I felt that you were ashamed of me because you would spend so much time with Mike, Rand, and Jamie, and they're doing so many great things, and I hadn't reached my peak yet, as far as like what I was going to do in the whole nine. Like I had a plan, I had a path, but I hadn't reached it yet. And I felt like you were ashamed of me. And so we were having this discussion, and again, you're talking about two black men sitting down having a serious discussion about, well, this is how I felt. This is
How
how
you
I
feel.
felt. It's not necessarily how you intended to make me feel, but it's how I felt. And in that moment, we had an exchange that was like, bro, I love you. I appreciate you. I never meant to make you feel that way.
Right.
Because that was never a thought of any of ours, right? But I guess my question in that is, when you have to have tough discussions with family, how important is it that black men specifically can sit down and have discussions, but people in general, how important is that to have the tough discussions so that we can kind of get over these obstacles and move forward as a supportive unit?
Yeah.
How important are those discussions?
I think the importance is the important part of those discussions is having the discussions. And getting the people to the table. Family can almost be like politics almost. It's hard to get the people to the table to talk about the different things that's going on because they have their viewpoint, you have your viewpoint, somebody else has a viewpoint, and now you gotta get all those viewpoints together to sit down and you gotta mediate. But like you said, you have to do it because you can't. Family let things fester.
Yeah.
And then they get to Wiley Funeral Home and then they blow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
come on. If you would have just sat down with such and such beforehand and had a conversation, we could have mended these things and we would have been able to do this in decency and order.
How about it?
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think they're truly important because they start to impact the things you want to celebrate. Let's be real.
How about it?
I'm getting married.
Yes, sir.
You ain't invite me to the wedding. I want to have a baby. You ain't invite me to the baby shower.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a 60th anniversary. Well, why cousin Cindy ain't here?
How about it? Yeah.
The built up anger and resentment that families create, they trickle down into the fun and entertaining and engaging events that we trying to create.
That's it.
That help keep the family together.
That's it. That's so good.
And I think that's important.
That's important. It absolutely is.
So you gotta talk to them.
Yeah, I love that. I love just the simplicity of it. And I know, to your point, it can be difficult to do, but sometimes a simple, if not awkward, if not heavy, if not weighty conversation is necessary, to make families do what they do.
Yeah.
So man, as always, man, I appreciate you. This always
how we
appreciate
do.
your insight, baby.
Yes,
This
sir.
is good. For you all out there, again, man, appreciate family, love on your family. Make sure that you're doing the things necessary to bring families together,
Bring them together.
having the tough conversations which are necessary. Thank you all again for joining us here at the Middle on North, holding it down in a beautiful way. And let's keep it about family. All right, and family all together. And again, my book, The Extraordinary Mr. Nobody, A Beginner's Guide to Self-Healing, definitely touches on family, and that means biological family, but also, like B said, extended family, those family members who you have the opportunity to choose, right?
Yeah.
Which is huge for your wellness and your support. So please check me out, but make sure you tune in to the next episode of What This Life Is All About. I get to join myself and B Wiley, handling business and doing it the way we do. We appreciate y'all, much love, and let's keep it family.